The book of Genesis, known as the Book of Beginnings, continues to surprise us with its richness of detail and spiritual depth. In chapter 5, we find a genealogy that may seem like just a list of names, but in fact, it hides a treasure of meanings and lessons for our lives today. This is the list of the generations of Adam. When God created man, he made him in the likeness of God. Male and female he created them, and he blessed them and named them Adam on the day they were created. This passage reinforces the concept of Imago Dei, the image of God in humanity, a concept that resonates to this day in discussions about human dignity and universal rights. Archaeologists have found inscriptions and artifacts that show how ancient civilizations also understood creation and human lineage as something divine, reflecting a universal understanding of the sacred origin of life. Adam lived 130 years and begot a son in his likeness, after his image, and he named him Seth. The days of Adam after he fathered Seth were 800 years, and he had other sons and daughters. Seth, the third son of Adam and Eve, is seen as a new hope after the tragedy of Cain and Abel. He represents the continuation of the godly lineage that would bring forth Noah, and eventually, Abraham. Archaeological research in ancient sites in the Middle East suggests the existence of a belief in sacred lineages, where certain peoples were considered direct descendants of gods or divine beings. Seth lived 105 years and begot Enosh. After he fathered Enosh, Seth lived 807 years, and had other sons and daughters. All the days of Seth were 912 years, and he died. The impressive longevity of the early patriarchs is a theme that raises many questions. While some see these numbers as symbolic, others believe in a literal interpretation pointing to a pre-flood era different from our own. Accounts of great ages also appear in other ancient cultures, such as in Sumer and Egypt, where kings and mythical figures lived for hundreds of years, suggesting a common ancient view of eras of greater proximity to the divine. Enosh lived 90 years, and begot Cainan. After he fathered Cainan, Enosh lived 815 years, and had other sons and daughters. All the days of Enosh were 905 years, and he died. Enosh, the son of Seth, is remembered as the time when men began to call upon the name of the Lord. This mention suggests the formal beginning of worship of God among humanity. Altars of sacrifice and early worship sites, dated to the time of Enosh, have been found in regions such as Mesopotamia, confirming the emergence of organized religious practices among ancient peoples. Cainan lived 70 years, and begot Mahalalel. After he fathered Mahalalel, Cainan lived 840 years, and had other sons and daughters. All the days of Cainan were 910 years, and he died. Cainan, like his predecessors, lived a long and fruitful life. Each generation, though seemingly repetitive, reminds us of God's faithfulness in preserving humanity through the ages. Ancient genealogies often serve as records of royal or priestly lineages, highlighting the importance of continuity and the preservation of a nation's memory. As we observe this line of patriarchs, we see not only the long lives they lived but also their faithfulness in passing on the spiritual heritage they received. These men, from Adam to Cainan, kept the flame of the knowledge of God alive in a world that was drifting away from him. These genealogies are not just lists of names but testimonies of God's grace and patience with humanity. Through each generation, we see God's hand guiding and preserving his people. The genealogy of Genesis 5 is not just a list of names, it is a bridge that directly connects us to the origins of humanity and the lineage that would culminate in Noah, the righteous man who would survive the flood. Today, we will explore the last patriarchs before Noah, each with his own story and profound significance. Mahalalel lived 65 years, and fathered Jared. After he fathered Jared, Mahalalel lived 830 years, and had other sons and daughters. All the days of Mahalalel were 895 years, and he died. Mahalalel is a name that means praise of God. Through the life of Mahalalel, we can reflect on how worship and praise to God are fundamental pillars in preserving our spirituality and identity over time. In archaeology, Evidence of religious practices and worship in ancient communities has been found in various excavations. Altars, inscriptions, and temples show that praise and worship were central to the lives of these peoples, just as they were for Mahalalel. Jared lived 162 years, and fathered Enoch. After he fathered Enoch, Jared lived 800 years, and had other sons and daughters. All the days of Jared were 962 years, and he died. Jared, whose name means, to descend, is an important patriarch because from his lineage would come Enoch, a man who walked with God. Jared's name may reflect the condition of humanity at the time, increasingly distant from God. Historical and archaeological records show that during this time, humanity was becoming more organized but also more prone to corruption and violence, something that would be countered by righteous figures like Enoch. Enoch lived 65 years, and fathered Methuselah. Enoch walked with God after he fathered Methuselah 300 years, and had other sons and daughters. All the days of Enoch were 365 years. Enoch walked with God, and he was no more, for God took him. Enoch is an enigmatic and deeply significant figure. He is one of the few in the Bible who did not experience death, for God took him. His life is a powerful reminder that it is possible to live in close communion with God, even in a corrupt world. Ancient inscriptions in various cultures speak of figures who ascended to the heavens without experiencing death, suggesting that Enoch may have been an inspiring figure not only for the Hebrews but for many ancient civilizations. Methuselah lived 187 years, and fathered Lamech. After he fathered Lamech, Methuselah lived 782 years, and had other sons and daughters. All the days of Methuselah were 969 years, and he died. In many ancient cultures, longevity was seen as a sign of divine blessing. Archaeological finds of tombs and records show that old age was revered and seen as a testimony to the grace of the gods. Lamech lived 182 years, and fathered a son, and he called his name Noah, saying, "This one will comfort us concerning our work and the toil of our hands, because of the ground which the Lord has cursed." After he fathered Noah, Lamech lived 595 years, and had other sons and daughters. All the days of Lamech were 777 years, and he died. Lamech, in naming his son Noah, expresses both sorrow for the fallen state of the world and hope that Noah would bring relief and renewal. He reflects the human heart, which yearns for redemption and restoration. Noah was 500 years old, and he fathered Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Noah represents the beginning of a new era, a new chance for humanity. He is the one chosen to preserve God's creation and to guide the world through the flood that was to come. The story of Noah has parallels in other ancient cultures, such as in the Epic of Gilgamesh, where a righteous man builds an ark to save his family and animals from a devastating flood, showing the universality of this myth. Each name in this genealogy carries a story of faith, perseverance, and God's promise to humanity. From Mahalalel to Noah, we see a thread that leads us directly to the heart of God and his intention to preserve and renew the world, even in the midst of chaos. The lineage from Adam to Noah reminds us that, regardless of circumstances, God always maintains a faithful remnant, ready to fulfill his will and restore creation. This message serves as a reminder that, just as Noah and the patriarchs before him trusted in God, we too must place our trust in him, knowing that he will guide our steps, even in the most challenging situations. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And remember, just as Seth was a symbol of new beginnings, each day is a new opportunity to call upon the name of the Lord. Until next time.